These next two videos are going to focus on transposition. To start off here, we're going to look at what transposition is and why we would want to transpose something. In the follow-up video, we'll discuss some methods of transposition. The concept of transposition is fairly simple. We take our song, whichever key it's in, and put it in a new key. Or we can say that we transpose it to a different key. So if our song is in the key of C, for example, we can transpose it up a half step to D flat, or maybe transpose it up a minor third to the key of E flat. Basically, we can take the key of our song and transpose it to any of the other keys in the chromatic scale. So, why would we want to transpose a song? Well, I'll give you 4 reasons here that come into play all the time in music-making situations. First of all, one of the most common situations in which transposition comes into play is when you're working with a vocalist. Since the vocalist is generally considered to be the featured element in most commercial music styles, the key that works best for the vocal should take precedence over everything else. The vocalist might decide that if the song were to be transposed up a half step, for example, that the notes of the melody would fall into a better range for their particular voice. Now, when I say a better range, I basically mean a range that's either comfortable for the physical capacity of their voice, or one that pushes them towards achieving an emotion that enhances the song. Like on a song where the vocalist needs to express passion and intensity, finding a key that slightly pushes their range may help to create that kind of energy. Most often, though, what we're looking for is to find a key that puts the vocalist in their most comfortable range. The classical term for this is tessitura. Tessitura is the range of notes that a voice or instrument sounds the best in, or allows it to produce the best timbre. You can think of tessitura as the vocal's sweet spot. Let's look for a moment at an example of how transposing a song can put the vocalist's melody into a different range. In this example, the original key is C major, and as you can see, the melody for the vocal consists of the notes C, D, E, A, and G. If we were to transpose this to the key of E flat major, the vocal melody would now become E flat, F, G, C, and B flat, since every pitch is shifted up a minor third. Often, if you're working out a song with a vocalist, whether it's a cover song or an original song, the vocalist will want to try that song in a couple keys just to find where the melody sits comfortably for them. A second reason to transpose a song is that different keys result in different tonal effects and timbres on different instruments. Furthermore, a different key might make it easier to perform the song on a particular instrument. Guitarists, for example, will often prefer to play a song in the key of E minor rather than F minor, since E minor has more open strings available to the guitarist. And if the style lends itself towards more of a twangy or folkish sound, those ringing open strings can really help to give the song that type of personality. To take another example, jazz musicians will often play a blues in the key of B flat, since jazz often features a saxophone taking the lead role. And the B flat tenor saxophone is what's known as a transposing instrument. In other words, when a tenor saxophonist reads the note C concert on a score, the resulting note is actually B flat concert. So, by putting the blues in the key of B flat, the saxophonist now has easy access to all of its idiomatic licks and phrases which come naturally to it, being a B flat instrument. In the same way that transposition has an effect on the playability and timbre of individual instruments, it also has an effect on the way that the entire song resonates and presents itself to the listener. Let's say that you're trying to compose or produce a cheerful and quirky type song in the key of B major. You're happy with your melody, chord progression, and tempo, but still feel like you haven't quite achieved that playful feel you were going for. Try transposing it up a minor third to the key of D major, for example, and see what happens. Perhaps it feels brighter and snappier in D major. Or if you're producing a track, perhaps you find that your low end feels better and just seems to lock into place when you transpose the entire track down a whole step. So the point of all this is to say that it's really worth experimenting a bit with the key of your song when composing and producing, because different keys can affect the way that your song comes across to the listener. A third reason has to do with the ability to transpose quickly on the fly. This applies to when you're on a gig or in a jam session and the other musicians are all playing the song in a different key. This is really crucial for jazz musicians, in which impromptu musical settings are the name of the game. Most jazz standards do have a key or two that they're commonly played in, however, they're also commonly transposed. And being able to transpose on the fly will really help you out if you're doing studio work as well, because it'll improve your ability to work quickly and to communicate with other musicians. Finally, you can use transposition as a learning tool, since transposing songs into different keys will teach you about intervallic relationships, as well as strengthen your ear. Soon, you'll be able to automatically hear and identify when a chord moves up a fourth or a major third, for example. So now that we know why transposition is so important, let's move on in the next video to find out how we can become experts at it.